Hey YouTubers, I wanted to put out another video to correct a previous video where I had previously thought this vacuum line off your intake manifold on your 99 and up uh, 3.0 first generation. Um, this vacuum line does not go to the front valve cover. It actually goes to your brake booster. So that's controlling your power brakes. Kind of hard to find um, on camera. I'll try to get you down there, but there it is right there. You see that metal line. Let's see if we can get in there. Well, let's just say you trust me, and that's your line right there with that clamp. That metal line goes to rubber and comes over to your brake booster. Let's see if we can get a light on there. There's your brake, and there's your brake booster. I just wanted to explain a few things. I guess I was wrong. I thought that was going to your front valve cover in the first video about this. And as you probably know, and if you don't, these 3.0 Toyotas have a major problem with oil blow-by. And I had put this filter in here. This is a oil water separator, okay, coming from the PCV valve. And what it does is separates the oil before it has a chance to get blown into your valve cover. And you see there's a line. This line right here goes under. I don't think we're going to be able to see it, but it goes under your intake, all the way under there. You're pretty much blind trying to get that on and off. There is a little spring clamp holding it on, and big problem with these with the oil blow-by. So I think the cheapest oil can I could find at the time was $100. I get this whole filter set up from Harbor Freight, and I don't know, probably maybe another $5 in fittings, some hose. For like $40, I put this oil water separator, and every now and then I check it. I empty the oil that it caught. Works really good. Any moisture that the engine is releasing through the PCV valve, any oil that's spitting out, gets caught by that filter. I've had it on for about 2 years now. It's worked really good, and the car's been running okay. It does look like I'm getting a little oil at my PCV valve, and the only fix to this, true legit fix to this, is to change that back valve cover. In 07, Toyota came out with a fix valve cover, and well, I guess us Toyota Lexus owners are SOL unless we want to fix it ourselves or pay the big money to do it. So I figured the cheaper, faster alternative would be this oil catch can. Well, it's a filter, and it's worked pretty good. Kind of a pain to get in there, and I figure once a week you're checking your oil anyways. Long trips, you're checking your oil. You should be checking your fluids and such. Being an older car, higher miles, you should be checking your oil on a regular. So I get in there, I check it, and empty it if it needs to. And I could actually tell on certain oils, it'll spit out more. Synthetic, Amsoil. Um, I tried Castrol when I first got this car. Ran really bad. So what I do is pretty much pick up the cheapest oil within reason. Um, and as long as you're running a 530, uh, stay away from synthetic. Synthetic will spit out even more, it seems. Amsoil gave me a funny color, and it went from dark brown, black oil in that filter to milky, and it seemed like it was giving me a lot more moisture, and so I changed from Amsoil and went to I try different oils all the time. Um, this oil change I went with uh, it's a company called Farm and Fleet, has their oil $1.69 a quart. So I went with the cheap route and see how she responds. Um, I've had a problem. I just took I don't know, 400 mile trip, ran great all the way there. Coming back, I filled up, topped off with some gas, and immediately coming out of the gas station, I've had nothing but issues. Car ran like crap. I went from getting like 24 miles to the gallon on the instant info button on here, the info readout, till to 8 miles to gallon. And no matter how fast I went or how slow I went, I was getting like between 8 and 10 miles to the gallon on the instant readout. I could see the gas meter falling, and I blew a lot more gas on the return trip than I did on the going to trip. And so I got a code, 1333, 1133, and a system lien. Now, another problem with these cars, these Toyotas, are the IAC valve, IACV valve, which is on your throttle body right here. I didn't video taking it apart and cleaning it. I had a big problem with this Phillips bolt. This one I got lucky with. This one would not come out. As you see, it's pretty rounded there. And I guess I'll show you how I fixed it. I guess I didn't really fix it, but I got that bolt out. I tried everything. I tried big pliers. I tried little pliers. I tried a little screwdriver. I tried a square tip. I tried a 3 Phillips. I tried everything. I don't have my vice grips because they're in Arizona. I tried needle noses. Nothing would work. So what I did, I had a pair of my side cutters, and if you're crafty with a little hand, I wound up grabbing and digging into the bolt and cranking sideways. And there was no way I'm getting video of that. And I wound up cracking that loose. side cutters digging into the side of it. I figured since the bolt was ruined anyways, what did I have to lose? And after about an hour of playing with this bolt, I was pretty fed up. So the side cutters, and you need a good pair of side cutters. These are, I believe, these are the CE's, Commercial Electrics. They're pretty good. You're going to find these in the electrical department. But cheap side cutters probably wouldn't have done it. These actually worked for me. Wound up grabbing them, cranking it, sitting there playing with it. And what I did, I couldn't get to the auto part, or I couldn't get to the hardware store to get a replacement. And what I did was filed sides on the bolt, and now I can use a number 8 millimeter wrench if I ever need to take this back off. Worked pretty good. Now I can even get a box end on there. So take your time. If you have that issue and you're pretty much lost, try the side cutters. I put some anti-seize on here, put them back in, and you know, they say you have this problem in the winter when it gets really cold. This Iacv sticks, and if you see in the throttle body, let's see if we can focus. That little hole right there at the bottom of the throttle body leads down into this Iacv, and what that does is gives you vacuum, I believe, off of the manifold, and it basically acts like your choke, if I'm not mistaken. And this thing just moves. It's magnetic, and it's a little flapper in there that just moves back and forth a little bit, and it allows just a little bit of vapor to come into your throttle body to keep you idling. And if you have a problem with it starting on a cold start, really the only way to get your car started is to put your foot down on the gas pedal all the way, crank it, and you'll find that it'll be real rough idling, and it'll surge or stall. It'll die out until the car warms up enough to keep running on its own, sort of like a choke operated on the older engines. But I had that problem when I first bought this car. The next day after I bought it, and I believe that's why the guy got fed up with this car, and I wound up with it and inherited all the problems that came along with it. And I guess these are things that we have to deal with this 3.0 engine. But that's a common problem when it's cold. So if you're having issues, don't run out and buy a new one. Try fixing it. Try cleaning it first. And what I did was a little carb cleaner. Sprayed it down here, and you'll see that once you pull this off, you'll see there's a little drum in there. It's a magnet, and you have to work it loose if it's really glitchy. What you want to do is keep spraying the carb cleaner in there and work it loose until it's really free moving. And don't rush it. Just, I would let it let it soak in there. Keep moving it back and forth. Spray more. Keep moving it back and forth until it's super easy to move back and forth, free flowing. And another thing I would recommend is taking this lower vacuum hose off before you do it. You don't want all that carb cleaner backing up into your vacuum lines, into your intake. So what I do is take these vacuum lines off the bottom. I spray my cleaner in here. It helps to have a stick, spray stick, and get it down in there and work that. And you'll see all the fluid coming out the bottom when you actually get this to move. If you put it one way, you'll see that it closes off and no fluid will come out. Once you get it to break free and it starts moving freely, you'll see your carb cleaner flow out of this bottom vacuum bung. Once you make sure you take this hose off, or it'll back up into your intake manifold. So just something that's a common problem with these Toyota 3.0s. I appreciate you guys watching. Obviously, the Iacv valves are a common problem with a lot of these engines, and I have reason to believe that's a lot of the problem why they're in the junkyard. So keep your car out of the junkyard, save some money, try that fix first. I tested this with an ohm meter, and I got 53 ohms on the resistance. So I couldn't find the spec on it. I still haven't found my book, but 53 is better than offline or none at all. So I reason to believe it's still the actual actuator works. The actual mechanical part of it is working, but I'm gonna put it all back together and see if we fix that 1133, which is the rear bank air fuel mixture sensor, basically the fancy O2 sensor. And if you do a little research, just because you get a code telling you it's a part doesn't mean it's actually the part. It could be a few different things. You could have a clogged fuel injector. You could have what I think is bad gas. So I went through that because I know that's a common problem, and anything to do with your air fuel mixture could set that 1133. So I'm trying to do everything cheap or for free. All these fixes that try those first before you go out and spend big bucks at the dealer for parts. Don't just throw parts at a car, guys. You have to figure out what's wrong with them before you just start buying parts and throwing them. Don't get the parts cannon out yet. Do your research. If you're gonna try to save some money, find out what's going on first, because it might not be that part. It might be another reason why it's setting that off. So we'll see if we fix it. I have to do another 400 miles here coming up real soon, so I need to get this running right. I guess we'll keep you updated. Hopefully it all works out for the best. I don't know if